Okay, here we go, and here we are. Hello, folks, one and all. Lycans and gentlemen, children of the night, nocturnals, night terrors, and all things that go bump in the night. Welcome to your monthly treatment of shock therapy. The doctor will see you now. Show me your woes, and I'll cure all that ails you. Consider me your night watchman for this evening's festivities here at the Mind's Eye Theater. I invite you to violate curfew along with me for this graveyard shift. I am your horror host Inkarnate for this sold-out show. Well, folks, I managed to make it to episode 66 of the watch party, and what could that mean? Nothing, it's just a number, but it is with rarity that there comes a time where I have the opportunity to remark and host events where I affectionately call the crossing of the streams. What does that mean? Well, where you have it where a medium of horror interacts with a flip side of the coin. To give you an example, it was my pleasure when I did a reading of the narration, a narration of the chapters, the time slices of Clive Barker's Jericho, along with playing the game. For instance, there was another opportunity where, to contrast the dark fantasy twins, as I refer to them, Alice in Wonderland, as well as The Wizard of Oz. While playing through McGee's Alice, I went on to read through the Twisted Land of Oz story that accompanied McFarlane's Toys. Now, it is a rare but gracious and great opportunity for me to not just watch and review in real time this horror documentary. And you guys know I am a sucker for horror documentaries, but the definitive survival horror documentary. I just got through with a playthrough of Doom: The Dark Ages, so it's great for me to watch to host a movie format of not just any documentary, but at long last the definitive documentary of horror gaming. So vast and so expansive is it that it could not be condensed into an hour and a half, and it includes 5 episodes, which for me is tops, which is perfect. So that means that in a month where there are 5 weeks, every single week of June, I will be hosting each chapter of this survival horror documentary. And that starts tonight. Now, I will keep this as briefly as possible, my intro, because I am eagerly anticipating this so very many times. You have to understand, as I mentioned, I am a big fan of documentaries, and I always ask, why isn't there a documentary for survival horror? Not only does it have a storied history, but if you manage to condense how long horror movies have existed into, say, a 30, 40, 50-year span when it comes to survival horror, you have to understand that then, horror movies dating all the way back to the classics of the Universal black and white monsters as well as the silent era, unlike then, with survival horror, the makers, the designers, the gamers, the coders, they're still alive. They are still amongst the living to tell us the stories. So that's what we're going to look at, and we're going to look into tonight. And believe you me, after watching this past Friday, that Predator Killer of Killers, oof, man, could I use a palate cleanser. So let me take a quick look. I don't think that I have many details to go into before we get started. Actually, I don't. So, this is, I was hoping to receive my copy of the Blu-ray that I ordered, because I was a supporter of this documentary. I was hoping that I was able to get my documentary Blu-ray, but I just read over the weekend that those are not going to come, or those are not even going to ship until July. So who knows when they're going to arrive. They were supposed to ship in May 31st by then. Regardless, if you have gotten your copy, in addition to releasing their typical format, their digital format in what is it? Not Tubi. What the hell is the Vimeo, I think. Yes, Vimeo is what they usually. Creator VC releases this documentaries on. Instead of that, they actually have, I think it's a special YouTube link. So therefore, you'll be able to follow along with me, which I invite you to do so. So you know what? Instead of my usual lengthy introduction, since it's pretty late already in the day, how's about we jump right in? Therefore, without further ado, I present to you this creature presentation. Igor, throw the switch. That's how I likes it. All right, and we're going to start now. Man, like I said, I have been looking forward to this for almost far too long. Written and directed by Richard Moss. Executive producer. Yeah, like I always asked myself, why are there so many documentaries of? And for me, this is perfect timing because I'm actually celebrating my 4-year anniversary of doing these. Of live streaming survival horror. And this gives me the perfect opportunity. So my anniversary is tomorrow, June 9th. 4 years of doing survival horror live streams. So for me, I get to celebrate all month long, partially reviewing in real time and watching this horror documentary along with you fine folks. Typical loading screen. Dear God. Figured this would happen. We'll give it a second. This is this is why I was kind of worried with doing it on watching this on YouTube. I don't know why my internet connection. It works on every other streaming service when I watch it on my TV. So, tell you what, let's switch over to my phone since it has the capability of playing, excuse me, the YouTube link. Okay. And a much clearer perception, as I can tell. Sorry about that. But yeah, it like, you have to understand, for someone like me who watches so many horror documentaries, there's like a glut of, for instance, okay, here we go. There's a glut of, for instance, Prologue, They Live. There's a glut of like zombie documentaries, you know what I mean? Agreed. Pac-Man. For me, hold on. Yeah, here we go. Yep. What a time to be alive. Advanced. Dragon Slayer, really? $0.50, really? Oh, Lord. Give me a quick second. Ah, John Romero. Sinistar, wow. As you'll probably tell, survival horror had its humble beginnings, just like any medium of horror, whether comics, books, horror novels, horror cinema. They didn't even call it horror when horror movies first came out. The dinosaur. 96, yes. Oh. Isn't that funny? Haunted House, good one. That's such an interesting question. Like, what was the official first horror game ever? Very difficult question to answer. Forbidden Forest, never heard of this one. Yeah, how crazy. For me, nice. They use the format of In Search of Darkness. I like that with the different posters. Ah, Sweet Home. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would like to do a watch of that Sweet Home. I have to check. Have they ever tried to remake that game? Ha ha ha. I remember that. Yeah, the Japanese creators. This is what I mean, man. The people who innovated this genre are still alive to tell their story. It's imperative that these stories get told. Doesn't incorporate systems unique to horror, so it's horror themed. It's a horror theme game. The game I consider to be my first pure horror experience is Sweet Home. The reason is that unlike other games, the characters do not, and the fear of having fewer allies as they gradually decrease. Oh, Jesus. That's dark. Wow. Oh my God. Oof, how can you? Ah, that creaking open door. Wild, isn't it? It's so interesting also to see like the bits and pieces that came about in each of the separate genres, or the little ingredients here and the tropes there that would create survival horror as we know it. What do we got? Oh wow! I didn't know if they were going to talk about this. Oh, Alone in the Dark. Never mind. It's such a shame that what do you call it? That the Alone in the Dark remake like didn't land the way I hoped it would. Yeah, claustrophobic. Ha. Very nice. And it worked, absolutely. Yep. Right. For me, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this watch party is because I, with my horror reviews and critiques on my horror reviews, my survival horror live streams, and my commentary on both horror cinema and horror games, I absolutely wanted to bridge the gulf between horror games and scary movies. And for me, the fact that we speak on horror games through the medium of a documentary, I mean, that was perfect for me. That was perfect for my channel and my, for lack of a better word, brand. I've heard that the first Alone in the Dark was very difficult, especially the puzzle solving. And I'm going to be speaking about this later on, probably this month, but it's wild to me that more connections aren't made with people over the similarity between survival horror and horror films. For instance, in 1996 is known as a pivotal year for both scary movies and horror games. What do I mean? You had two definitive one a film, one a game, which brought together many of the ingredients of their core genre. For slashers, it was Scream. For horror games, it was Resident Evil. Again, they weren't just popular forms of entertainment, but both came out in '96 and both represented, how can I put it? Both represented the coming together, the amalgamation of several tropes to either define a genre with Resident Evil or redefine a genre with slashers in Scream. Like a dancer, he said? Oh, you're like this here. Jesus. And in addition to that, you can compare System Shock to the original Alien. You know what I mean? It's like comparisons like that that a lot of people don't take into account, and it's strange that they don't. Doesn't he do that? Yeah, he does do that. Yeah, funny. Jesus, you killed the crap out of him. Oh, Lord. Clock tower, that's another one. Yeah. Music is a big one. Just look at Silent Hill. Man, I absolutely love... Ah, we all go on Clock Tower. Another example of... what's the word I'm looking for? Another example of like a common thread, connective tissue between video games and horror is how Doom was one of the inspirations of Doom. Well, let me name them both. Doom was inspired by Evil Dead meets Aliens. The FPS genre also owes a great deal to horror movies. Haha, the scissor man. Somebody, I think Ragnaroks, spoke about how Clock Tower was like the definitive slasher. I'm not a fan of slasher movies at all, but I would like to listen to his like video essay. Yep. Nope. Get out of Dodge. That's fight or flight. She got smacked with those giant scissors. We do need more, and I said this during my watch of the summer showcase for the Horror Game Awards. We need more subnautical horror. Guys, make sure to hit the like button on whichever platform you're watching this on. It helps to circulate this bloodstream. Mario, really? Interesting. I plan when I get around to doing a dedicated video to Terrorbytes to discuss in more detail the... Now, obviously, playing a horror game will be different as opposed to watching a movie. Immersion, what's the other word? Interactivity. Those are words that we relate to playing a video game. We all know this, but I do still think that it's crazy to me. Like, yeah, we have horror conventions, which are all good and well, but those are mostly horror movies. I think that, for instance, there are iconic monsters within survival horror that should be celebrated and recognized. And I know that people will cosplay as it. For instance, you have like the sexy version of Red Pyramid from Silent Hill, because women will find a way to make a sexy version of any kind of monster. Yeah. Wow, we're jumping to Resident Evil? Okay. I thought we were gonna go more into, the beginnings before we, let me see how much time we're in. Yeah. Just barely 20 minutes in. Is that because of the really cheesy acting? Residents of Evil is actually doing either a movie or a series with the original actors for these characters, which of the original live action video versions of the RE characters from the mansion. Akira Yamaoka. The way that camera is used is really amazing. At the time, I didn't think such cameras were amazing and didn't play with them. But from the perspective of us who make games, that mechanism is really impressive. Haha, changed the game. Oh, the headshot. That's another one. The fact that Resident Evil, while similar to Scream in a lot of ways because of combining multiple tropes, I mean, it took obvious inspiration from George Romero's The Dead series, and guess what? I've always said it. Despite my grievances with Resident Evil, everybody knows that who sits at the top as far as zombies are concerned, it is the George Romero movies. There are the Resident Evil games, and of course, The Walking Dead. All credit where it's due. Jill sandwich. You're right. Stupid. RE2. I'm surprised they got to Resident Evil this quick in the documentary. The documentary is about an hour 50 minutes, and we're barely 20 minutes in, and we've covered Resident Evil, and now we're on RE2. Man, when the RE2 remake came out, it was such a big deal. People loved it, man. That was the first horror remake, horror gaming remake to capitalize on the return of Doom from 2016. And that's why we get to have RE4 remake. That's why we get to have System Shock remake, Alone in the Dark remake, Silent Hill 2 remake, Dead Space. Uh-oh. Oh, look who it is.
Bitch, please. First we gonna rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it pop, don't let it go. X gon' give it to you.
Yeah. I can see why. Absolutely. Yep. And we still talk about monster characters that follow you around. For instance, Alien Isolation. The power of PlayStation, nice. I am going to pause the watch party watch because it's slightly off. So I just want to make sure that your viewing experience is synced up with mine. That's another thing. How crazy is it, like with something with Jaws, for instance? The fact that the shark didn't work and you had to show less of it, the limitations of the shark is what allowed Steven Spielberg to make it scarier. And that the same thing happened with survival horror. The limitations of the technology at the time allowed intelligent people to capitalize on that to make the games even scarier. Fixed camera angles, yeah. The smoke in Silent Hill. Haha. Very unnerving. Okay, we're going to start the clock up again, so we're synced up in 3, 2, 1. There. Yep, there you go. Silent Hill. Oh, crap. Damn it. Sorry, I threw the clock off completely. Let me see if I could change this on my own. I meant to pause it. Sorry about that. At the very beginning, when Biohazard Resident Evil, I think it was probably before the horror game genre was fully established. It was decided to create a work themed around fear, which led to Silent Hill. Such a gem of the genre, man. And I'm so happy that they made the smart decision of not trying to copy Resident Evil. Okay, now we're synced up. No, we're not. God. I think I screwed up the clock. Yeah, I screwed up the clock. Sorry about that. Man, it like true. There's a reason why people still celebrate Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Okay, we're now synced up on the clock. Sorry about that. The watch party clock. Silent Hill is truly, what's the word I'm looking for? Cerebral. It truly is. It gets under your skin. Yeah. Psychological horror, that's the phrase I was looking for. Yeah, it's what you don't see that's scary. Oh, God. Yeah. It goes bump in the mind. Jeez. Back away! I cannot wait for the Return to Silent Hill movie. Oh my god. I'm wondering when we're going to get an update. We got that really brief teaser trailer last year. I'm very much looking forward to the release of that film. We haven't heard anything in about a year. Yeah. Well said. Vomiting only bile. I do wish that we got more games that like hit, you know what I mean? That are like such a great premise that you would want to see more of it instead of being force-fed more of it. But that's a symptom of a lot of a bigger issue, because we don't even really get that with horror films anymore. It's a rarity that something truly novel comes out. Silent Hill 2. It's a rarity that something truly novel comes out that you would want to see more. You would want to see it evolve and expand. And by that I mean obviously iterating on for a franchise to come about from said movie, said film. It's I mean, nobody takes any more chances, and it's a very sad thing. It's a very sad state of affairs. Trailer. Oh, damn. Talk about a mind job. Yeah, how crazy is that? Very strange music for such a dark film. Oh man. Yeah, for real. One thing I forgot to mention is, let me see. No, this is not the first documentary, that I've done on the watch party. But I believe it is the first documentary from creator VC. I do want to watch In Search of Darkness. The 80s I will get to, but you have to understand, I mean, my God, they have done 3 of those. The creator VC has done 3 separate documentaries on the 80s. That's just how prolific that decade was. But I'm actually more interested in, morbidly so, in doing a watch party of the 90s. I have In Search of Darkness 1990 to 1994, and this past week I sent my donation for the upcoming 1990 In Search of Darkness 95 to 99, which I believe ships in December. Yeah, you truly, you're in a ghost town as well as a living nightmare. And that's another kind of inspired choice, how Resident Evil took place in a quote-unquote haunted house. Well, what if the haunted house was the entire town? Yeah. In what shape are you going to be? Haha. Jeez, the angles that they used. Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. Haha. Very eerie. God, her pale, glassy eyes. Their version of H.R. Giger. It's crazy the amount of inspirations that Silent Hill has. I actually looked at a list of it one time, and it's crazy, man. Certain scenarios, streets, certainly. References to Stephen King. Huh. I remember my friends talking about this. They were grown men who would play this, I believe, on the Sega Saturn, that got freaked out with this game. Yeah, the metaphors. And this is kind of what, like, the genre as well as Silent Hill has gotten away from, like, the symbolism of their monsters. Jesus. That's another interesting dichotomy within survival horror, the difference between East and West. Resident Evil versus Silent Hill, psychological horror versus action horror. Hahaha. Yep. You're not a Marine. Mm-hmm. Haha. I love how everyone reacts. Like, the reaction by everyone is the same when the twist with Silent Hill 2 is revealed. Yeah, exactly. Hmm. Yeah. Sam Barlow. Cuzzy Claus says, "Yo, what you doing? I am watching. I am hosting a watch party for Terrorbytes, the survival horror documentary." Hmm. I think that, yeah, like they really need, when they're upcoming Silent Hill games, they really do need to get back to like something, that personal touch, you know what I mean, and build it from there. And like the premise of what it is that James Sunderland went through is, how can I put it? It's so simple, and they were able to build it out from there. You know that they're able to get, how can I put it? They're able to build their monsters off of the psyche that of James Sunderland going through this experience with his wife. There are similarities between Alyssa is her name, the girl from Silent Hill 1 and 3. There's similarities between her and Carrie. Just, I love this stuff, you know what I mean? By the way, Cuzzy Claus, you'll notice the clip, the clapper board with a timer on the right. If you want to join, if you have your copy, the digital copy, Horror Soundscapes, if you have your digital copy of Terrorbytes, the survival horror documentary, if you've received your digital copy, you can join me along with this watch party at the timestamp that's running. That's why I keep that up. After all, games are meant to be experienced as games. Therefore, I think it's not about creating music just for listening, but rather about how well it can blend into the game. That's the kind of music creation that's necessary, don't you think? How do you mean? Huh, I'm not sure what he meant, like the opposite of music for. This guy looks like Igor. That is true. Silent. I mean, and that just goes to show how Silent Silent Hill really went to the extreme of creating its own identity apart from Resident Evil. I mean, you know for a fact that Silent Hill is onto something when one of the key components with it is the soundtrack, is the audio, the music. You don't really get that with Resident Evil. And all of the music is varied. Haha. I do need to look for industrial music whenever I'm doing like a trailer for one of my shorts promoting my live streams or watch parties. That's another thing. I cannot wait for the Return to Silent Hill movie to come out. That way I can do a watch party of the original Silent Hill film. It's crazy to me. Like, I know that the Silent Hill movie has grown to have a cult following, but man, I really wish that movie hit the way I know that it could, and I hope that with Return to Silent Hill, it'll get a much bigger following, and that Return to Silent Hill does hit. It's also about the uncertainty of what's ahead. Until Dawn on the Quarry. Ugh. I hate supermassive games. Yeah. This was a scene in Until Dawn? What the hell? I don't remember that. I will never stream that game. Ugh, God. Uninteresting. Talk about a walking sim. It's QuickTime Event, the video game. Space Invaders. Yeah, I do agree with that. Sound is a big part of it. Oof, Jesus. Yeah, dude. God, that blood and rust is so iconic when it comes to Silent Hill, and that was something that was expanded upon. I mean, to pitch perfect visual fidelity in the movie. Like, God. I don't need to ever see more of Callisto Protocol, ever. God, what an L. The Last of Us. Ugh. Another horror game I'll never stream. The Rat King? I was never much interested in The Last of Us because it was just another... To me, it's another horror game. Oh, excuse me, it's another zombie game, and it's like, yo, I am very selective with what I play when it comes to zombies because it's just... It's my second least favorite genre of whether you're talking about video games or horror movies. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, can we go back to games that we could possibly give a crap about and stuff? Really quick time events? They ripped that off from, what was it? Zygote, Neil Gaiman's, not Neil Gaiman. Oh god. Oat Studios, Zygote. This monster is not unique, it's actually a rip-off, a grotesque one at that. Meh. I would say that. Yeah. There are so many times I see like a digital effect in a horror movie that I think would be improved if they, or enhanced if they got the audio right. And I'm reminded of the transformation scene of Selma Hayek in From Dusk Till Dawn when she turns into a vampire. Now, that was done with practical effects, and they dissolved it. Her turning into a vampiric snake. But what really sells it is the sound, the crunching of it. And the visual effects in the Wolfman remake from 2010 aren't great. Hold on. Lurking in the Darkness. The visual effects in the Wolfman aren't great, but they are greatly helped by the audio, the sound of the transformation. Guys, make sure to hit the like button. That way it just helps this bloodstream circulate. Oh, Tetris. Mist? The hell is Mist? I'm trying to think, because the thing with me growing up is that my friends had video game consoles. I had a Sega Genesis and a PlayStation. I did not get, and a friend of mine gave me his, he gave me his original Xbox. I did not. I'm trying to think of what, like, basically, I say that to say this. I watched my friends play games, and I know that, you know, Resident Evil and Silent Hill freaked them out. I'm trying to think of the scariest game I've ever played. I'd have to, maybe Visage. I'd have to look. I haven't played a Silent Hill game yet, I don't think. I do need to play, what is it? Short Circuit? The game that came out last year or the year before. It's like a very brief playthrough. I never watched the Max Payne movie or played the game. Actually, one of the first games that scared me was, or at least kept me on edge, was the original Gears of War, if you could believe that. It's so funny, like, people sleep on that as a horror game, but there are a lot of tense moments in that, or moments that you're kept on edge. And people have spoken about, you know, the best times when that you play with, or how can I put it? The best depiction of Gears of War is when it's a horror game. Ah, yes, Razor Fist has mentioned how there are sequences of the Thief series that, like the library section, I think it's called, that are like terrifying. There have been. Let me think. One day I'll do some kind of content regarding scary scenes in non-horror games, because people have made lists of that. G-Man Lives is one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Jesus. Flickering light from a torch? Razor Fist mentioned how this scene, this level of Thief is so terrifying, he dedicated an entire Halloween episode to live streaming it. Wow. Yeah. Ah. That is another interesting aspect. Oh, we're finally moving on. Eternal Darkness. Nice. GameCube. I never played Eternal Darkness, but once now that I have a PC game, I can get an emulator to play it. I still wait for the day where we can have a Hellraiser video game. You know what I mean? Now that now that technology has improved to the point that it's much better compared to like these licensed games that came out at the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, I think that the timing would be perfect to make a Clive Barker horror game. Or, excuse me, a Hellraiser horror game. Haha, that's creepy. Haha. Yeah. Oh, damn. That's messed up. Why would they do that to gamers? Oh my god. That's terrible. Wow, that is really messing with. I never knew that about Eternal Darkness. Jesus, what the hell? What the hell? It's all in your head. Jesus. That's awesome. Incredible. I did not know that they did all of this in one game. Wow. I bet. That's funny. So guys, we're about to hit the 1 hour mark. If you could remember to hit the like button on whichever platform you're watching this on. Got about 50 minutes left in the stream. What? You just get shot? Jesus. You certainly did that. And did we never get a sequel to this? Yes. I was happy that when Legacy of Kain got a remaster or late last year. Jesus. Well. What do we got next? Prey? Prey already? Oh no, Resident Evil, okay. GameCube. What is this, RE0? Or is this a remake? This is a remake. God, I can't believe that they came back with a... They came back with a Welcome to Raccoon City remake, and it still sucked. They thought to combine, what was it? Resident Evil 1 and 2? Or 1 and 3? It was just a bad idea. Yeah, man. So many people have mentioned that, like the quantum leap that gaming had done, but in the 6 years since the original Resident Evil came out. Yeah. No, you weren't. But that just goes to show how RE remake was everything that a remake should be. A true jump scare. I like how he's so calm about that. You would have fit nicely into a sandwich. The cheesy dialogue is something that I wish was applied to the Resident Evil, oh crap, what are they called? Oh man, I'm blanking on what the hell the spin-off series is called. Revelations. I wish they added the cheesy dialogue to the Revelation games. Really? What an insult. Huh. I wouldn't oh god, don't start with this crap. Don't start with the identity politics. No one cares. A missile launcher. Yeah. Ruler Rose. I don't know about that, because James Sunderland, Doom Guy, I guess you would find out with the Fatal Frame series. Silent Hill 3? Silent Hill 3. What's the other one? The character in System Shock. Yeah, I don't know if the Final Girl is really a thing with gaming, because I would argue that the protagonist from Dead Space, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if the Final Girl really applies to survival horror, just because there are as many male survivors, if not more iconic than there are females. Screwy, you say? True. No, very few women are. Jesus. Turning into Freddy Krueger. Victim? I don't know about that one. Yeah, especially if you're not one, right? Like, yeah, that's a rough one. I never thought of that aspect of it, like the voice actors of survival horror, the impact that they have. Oh, Fatal Frame. Yeah, that's a big one. Wait, we're jumping to Fatal Frame 2? Absolutely. Amen. I've only played one Fatal Frame on the live stream. I do need to play more of them. And now that I have a PC rig, now I can. And I will. Jesus. Well then. Yeah, for real. Interesting mechanic, huh? Camera obscura. Ha ha ha. Ah, he said it. He said it. What the hell? Oh, I didn't realize that the first intro, the opening chapter to this documentary is going to be so heavy on RE and Silent Hill. See, this is what I mean when I was discussing earlier in my playthrough of Doom the Dark Ages how the recent Resident Evil 9 Requiem trailer has released, and it upsets me that it's returning to Raccoon City because, like, 9 games in and several spin-offs, shouldn't we be done with Raccoon City? And my point is the best games in the Resident Evil games, they were pioneering, they were innovative, like RE2 and RE4. Were they just retreads? Were they returning to Raccoon City? No, they were innovative. They broke the mold. They took chances. Dr. Salvador. Oh, Jesus. I gotta play RE4 HD remake. I think that I have it on my 360. I don't know if it transferred to my either my Xbox One or Series X. I have to check. Jeez, RE4 released on everything. I'm talking the original. And that's what I mean. Okay, yeah, it is more action oriented, but again, they took chances, man. They tried to break the mold. They weren't they could have been scared. They very much could have been scared of doing so. Shinji Mikami notoriously started over a few times with RE2 and RE4. Oh god, was this ever frickin' retreaded with Resident Evil Village? Ugh, I hate that game so much. What's your pleasure? What you buying? Yep. Yep. Haha. Silent Hills, Journey West. Uh-oh. The downfall. I genuinely believe that, and maybe when I do playthroughs of Silent Hill post Silent Hill 4, I do want to genuinely see what were the drawbacks and strengths of each Silent Hill. And I'll do that because I think it's important that when you have these, how can I put it? When you have these games that don't quite hit, I think it is important to mention, and instead of just discarding them, I think it's important to highlight the strengths of each sequel. Wow. Silent Hill was the one with the Marine, right? Yes. What a great movie. Oh, really? And right, look at look at how like we're using the nurses and Pyramid Head over and over again when each exactly. No, it doesn't. So look at the revulsion when you rely too. Look at the revulsion that instantly exists when you attempt to regurgitate familiar calling cards of a series. Why is that not the case with Resident Evil? That absolutely should be the case because you should aim to innovate, not regurgitate or iterate. Yeah. That I have heard. Razorfist has mentioned that. Silent Hill Homecoming did seem like it had, you know, considering that what the monsters and the environment will appear like is a manifestation of your own psyche. I always felt that they had a good idea with a marine for Silent Hill Homecoming. It's just that they didn't nail the execution. Because this was, you know, post 9/11 and the war in Iraq, and you can only imagine what an Iraqi the nightmares or the repression that an Iraqi war vet would deal with. And it's kind of like the inverse of the Space Marine, you know what I mean? The Call of Duty. And I think that had they stuck to that concept, they really could have nailed something, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. God, I hate It Follows. So overrated. What? Oh my god. Interesting. Good sound effect. This was. Oh, I'm sorry. I think that stupid me. I think that I mentioned that I have yet to play a Silent Hill game for the live stream, but no. What was it? 3 years ago now. I played Downpour for its 10-year anniversary. I liked it for the most part. I thought that some of the monsters could have been better. I'm thinking of 2 in particular. Yeah. You have to be very careful with that. Like, the greatest hits. True. Really? Wow. Oh my god. Church out of bones. Yeah. That's what you have to get your own identity. That's a really good insight though. So let's see, we got about 25 minutes left in the watch party. Guys, if you could hit the like button, it just helps to circulate this bloodstream and recommend it to others. Epilogue, survival mode. Yeah. Once the HD consoles came about, people wanted to flex their muscles with that. Yeah. That's yeah, that was always a funny thing about Dead Space. They pretended like you weren't a Marine, yet you have this gun, and, you know, multiple guns, and you can upgrade your guns. Like, dude, come on. Call it what you want. Yeah, unfortunately. Like, I try not to claim that just because one film comes out and other people emulate it, that specific film or game will have ruined the genre. But I just RE4 did change the survival horror, and not for the best, because so many people are trying to emulate that style. Interesting. Which is unfortunate. I've never played Dark Souls, although I've heard it's overrated. Jesus. Oh my god. It was interesting when there were games that tried to steer clear of Bloodborne. It was interesting to see how other video games came out and were popular during the PS3 and the Xbox 360 era, like Slender Man. I think that the 7th gen, those two consoles, Xbox 360 and the PS3, that was the last time that there was like an attempt to make new horror experiences, if not franchises. We got BioShock, the Arkham Asylum games, or game. we did get failed experiments, for instance, Clive Barker's Jericho, but I'm still very much a fan of it. But that's like the last time there was a Dead Space came out during that time. And that was like the last time to really create and go in on these wild, deep concepts. I don't think that we got much of that in the 8th gen. I mean, we got Alien Isolation, which was great, but... Are you joking? RE Village is not scary. I haven't played Resident Evil 7 yet, but I don't know, man. It from watching Mauler's review of it, it seemed very overrated. Yeah. Yep. God, RE3 sucked. As a game, as a remake, just... And that's one of the games that my friends played. Indie games, yes. That's one of the games that my friends played, RE3, which interested me, like, especially the Gravedigger scene. I was very much looking forward to it. And then I played it the same year that I started my channel. About 6 months earlier when it came out, during the COOF. The 2 games that I played were Doom Eternal and RE3. You could guess which one that I actually enjoyed. Oh my god, RE3 was just oof. They should remake that game. People always talk about, oh, what's going to be the next RE remake? Oh, we're done? Wait. We're done? We got 20 minutes left of... Hold on. Give me a second. Right. Wow. We're really done? I'm just going to fast forward through all of these credits. My god. They have 20 minutes worth of credits? Jesus, they were at 20 minutes worth of credits. That's kind of crazy considering that the documentary is an hour and a half. I'm sorry, an hour and 50 minutes. Alright, looks like we're done. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, this watch party, I will be doing a watch party of each of the 5 chapters, each of the five episodes of this, give me a second. I'll be doing a watch party for each of the remaining 4 episodes of this documentary. These will be... I will be watching the digital version, which I invite you to do along with me. For me, this is the perfect timing because, like I mentioned, today, now that it's past 12 p.m., 12 a.m., excuse me, June 9th is the 4-year anniversary of when I started live streaming survival horror games. So I will continue doing watch parties. I will let you know. I will release a schedule of when exactly it is that I will be doing these watch parties for the remainder of June. But yeah, the fact that that the release of this documentary, which I have been looking forward to for quite some time, since I was looking forward to this when Creator VC released the FPS documentary. So the fact that Terrorbytes was right around the corner was bliss for me. And again, I'm happy that I'm able that more or less this coincided with the 4-year anniversary of when I decided to invest not only in consoles and a laptop to play survival horror games, but the fact that I was able to land a gaming PC, just in time for my 4-year anniversary, and that I have this survival horror documentary, the definitive survival horror documentary, on tap to watch and enjoy, and just retrace the history of survival horror. So my thoughts on this documentary are, I thought that, well, it's kind of crazy that we get 20 minutes worth of credits, but it was a bit not just an observation, not necessarily critique. They did speak on Resident Evil and Silent Hill more than I thought that they would, which isn't a bad thing. Because, I mean, my God, after nearly 30 years, I still see and hear of horror games that are coming out that, this is inspired by Silent Hill, that's inspired by Resident Evil. I think Withering Rooms was inspired by both. I can't. I have one game that's come out recently. I'm blanking on the title, but I know it was inspired by Resident Evil. But my point is that, I mean, seriously, to this day, you still get games that very much are still taking cues from the very best, the very beginnings of the genre. And to me, that's something truly special. The fact that they were so iconic that even game developers now, like, you would think, I'm trying to think, like, what movies would have come out in the 90s? I guess Scream, but my point is that you would expect that there would be people who they just don't know about Resident Evil. They don't know about Silent Hill. You know what I mean? With the passage of time, with different generations. So it's still really inspiring to see how these games continue to inspire those within the medium of gaming and those within survival horror who want to make their own games, but still very much influence on the monsters of Resident Evil, on the gunplay of an RE game, on the mood and atmosphere and the psychological horror of Silent Hill. It's something truly amazing, because you would not and you don't get that with on the cinema side, because there are so many subgenres of horror, but because something like Resident Evil, something like Silent Hill, they were just so pioneering that 3 decades later, no one's forgotten about them. No one's like packed them up, packed them out, said that those games were just a different generation, different time, and we've moved past them. No, and it really does say something about the genre. It really does say something about those two franchises, that they're still making an impact. So it's not a bad thing that this opening chapter dedicated so much time to survival horror. Now, obviously, we have 4 more episodes left, so there's going to be plenty to talk about. Cthulhu, J-horror, the independent scene, Steam, each generation of the consoles. So I am looking forward, the different subgenres. So I am looking forward to see what else is to be said. I just hope that the rest of the 4 episodes don't have 20 minutes worth of end credits. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I will be releasing what my schedule will be as far as the watch parties of the remaining 4 episodes will be concerned with. And I think I'm going to close this one out. And remember, later today, I will be back on to do at most likely 9 p.m. to do a live stream of Rip Out to celebrate not just the second month in my Midsummer Nights stream, but to celebrate 4 years of live streaming survival horror games. So, mark your calendars and say your prayers. I've been Inkarnate, offering a word of caution. Fear the worst, so long you recognize who's best. Your fate? Time to subscribe to your fears.
Scary night, isn't it? Looks like right out of a horror movie or something.
See you in your dreams. Oh, come back anytime. Bring your friends.
Welcome to my nightmare.